This is a nuke. This is still considered a nuke, even though basically it's the same as having two mediums together. There's 4 or 5 frames in each of the nuke boxes. And this has a really old queen in it. So when my queens get old, if they're still laying in semi-decent shape, I give them a nuke and try to let them tell me what's going to happen. In queen rearing, especially if it's been a good queen as far as honey production, but she kind of peters out or slows down in the fall, I don't know that I really want to get rid of her, and I wouldn't mind having her drones, if not her genetics, in the spring. So I give her a nuke and see if she can't make it, and this queen has been in here quite a while. But now I am going to put her in a 10 frame because I'm going to use her genetics, but it's going to be easier for me to pull a frame to graft from. Because if you can see, going through 4, even if they're just 5 frames, 4 over 4 or yeah, to go through this many frames looking for a good frame of brood. This will give me exactly what I need on the day I need it. So even though she's an older queen, she's in, let's see, it's 5, 9, 13 frames, and the lowest box here, the lowest box here is actually empty, which is to be expected after being in there for the last 3 months or so. They tend to move up to where the honey is. She still has plenty of honey in the very top box, and I imagine she's got brood in the second, and then this is the third. The objective is to put her in a 10 frame, and she's going to be sat behind this divider with the queen excluder. On this side of the hive is going to be where the queen will be placed, and over here will be her main brood. Every 4 days, I can come in, put in a new frame, date it, and in 4 days later, she should have laid that. There will be open brood right next to the queen excluder, and then the cap brood over here. This can actually then supply capped brood for nukes or smaller hives. And meanwhile, I have her on an empty frame, and every 4 days she gives me something that I can graft off of. That's a full frame of pollen. Full frame of pollen. That will go where the queen goes, so that they feel really comfortable feeding that brood. Generally, you want to keep that right where they have it. And there she is. Queen spotting activity. Nice older larva. I'm going to put her in on her frame. Now all that's next is to fill the box with her brood, and whatever's left over I'll move to another hive or put a top on her. If I put a top on her, it will have a queen excluder, so she cannot go up. That's really nothing. Little nectar, but not much. She's been in this box for 2 years. When I put her in, I thought, oh, she's too old to handle whatever box. And it's always surprising that they can handle a nuke more than the width of that 10 frame or 8 frame. They really do gangbusters in the nukes. More pollen, cap brood. Not the best looking frame. She's got some drone. That's great because I want the drone out there that she makes. If she doesn't have enough worker frames, I will give her worker frames because I need to keep stash a little bit for just this purpose. That's a nice frame. Completely capped. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. There's another one. That's a good one too. I'm wearing gloves because in the spring they kind of get feisty and it's a little chilly when the clouds go in. I got so much work to do. Look at all that pollen. Another nice frame. Capped brood. She's ready to explode again. More pollen. I think I'm gonna put that with the queen. She's got one. I think I'm gonna put one on either side of the box. And then whatever's left in this box is honey, looks like. Yeah. And you can see that it's like a drone comb filled with honey. So I'm going to kind of leave that out because I'd rather not have any more drone in there. I may stick a empty of drone so I can get her genetics that way. But right now this is not worth what I need. She's good on propolis. These are kind of drone comb. That's nectar. Okay, so right now the queen was on this frame. This is, oops, sorry girl. This was nectar, or pollen. I'm gonna put a frame of honey here and a frame of honey over here, and I'll probably replace this. This is because I'm foundationless. I know that once those two frames of capped brood open, this will be a super productive hive, and I can stick new frames in and they'll draw out worker comb almost immediately. And now I just need to swap spots. Okay, that's the bottom box. And while I'll check it, it's basically empty comb, which will be used to then, once they are laying, and you need to swap out the frame every 4 days. So for now, this frame went in on 2/8. And I can actually come in and put in another frame, but every time you put in a frame, you date it so that you know on that 4th day you can graft from it, because the eggs will be open and in a nice tiny little puddle of royal jelly, so that they're nice and well fed. And you can get a perfect grafting frame with this method, as long as she chooses to lay and you gave her enough resources. Sometimes I feed them and sometimes I don't. But you can see this will be a packed hive. She hasn't been in a wide open situation for a while, but she's gonna really do well for me. So like I said, there's nothing in the bottom. Always make your glances in case for some reason there's 2 queens. I've got to fill 1, 2, 3 spots. This is, come on. This is her honey up here. That's her honey. to put that in there, but I'm not going to. I'd like to put the honey in, but yeah, I'm going to. Because weather is too weird to not let them have as many stores as possible. Okay. Come on, out of the way. So now all it takes is I'm gonna shake those girls, the last of the girls in, let them get off the frames, and deliver her frames to whoever else can use them. She's packing in the pollen. I just gave her a frame that she can lay into. In 4 days I'll come in and do the same again, and I start rotating frames out. This hive will never get bigger than this for this season. Once I'm done with her, then she can go back into a nuke and a 4/4, 5/5, and this queen excluder on top allows me to put a baggie feeder with a shim on her so that I can deliver a little extra go juice. And these, as far as I'm concerned, queen excluders, depending on what you want them to do. So I see bees going straight under, and I definitely have, wax there that's kind of holding it up, but depending on how you put them, it's closer to the divider. You can see this way it's even higher. So I have to shim down some of that wax there that's holding it up, and then I put it where this is to the top. Out of the way. I think I got one now. Didn't mean to. I've said this in other videos. I don't think I've ever had a queen go up and over the divider. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. Because you can be in this business for 40 years and not see what someone else has seen. I have seen, when I've opened hives, queen on the top bars. So that means that she could actually go all the way over. Okay. So as you can see in here, the bars are below the, I don't know what you would call that except a hem from my sewing days. So the bars are closer to the top on this side Come on, out of the way. Out the way, girls. So it may be only a tiny bit difference, but the bars are definitely closer to the divider on this side of this excluder. And then I just put a shim on her and start shaking girls in, and she's done. So that was easy, right? Confine your queen. Know where she's going to lay. Give her the frame to lay on. You get the grafting frame, even if you're only grafting 2 or 3 or 10 or 100. Give her the frame. Know where she's going to lay. Give her some stores, some sugar water. Make sure that those larvae are full of royal jelly. Yeah, don't give her 0 bees and expect her to lay. Do her right, and she'll do you right. Until next time, peace.